One game here that we've not really discussed this week, pretty big implications, if you ask me. South Carolina and Missouri, of course, in Columbia, but it's in Missouri's Columbia, as the Gamecocks will be hitting the road looking to become bowl eligible with a win Saturday against the Missouri Tigers. And what an accomplishment that would be for Shane Beamer and company, given the situation he inherited and how dire things looked just a couple of weeks ago. Really, at many points in this season. I mean, for some damn reason, we've had fans calling out Shane Beamer, wanting to change at offensive coordinator, wanting to change at offensive line coach. And I'm talking 6, 7, 8 games into the tenure here. So a lot of goodwill could be won over by this Gamecock fan base. You go on the road, you beat Missouri, you punch your ticket to a bowl game with 2 games remaining on the schedule against Auburn and Clemson. So real opportunity for South Carolina, a real opportunity for Missouri. But I think this game means so much, obviously, with the bowl implications here for both sides. Missouri still needs 2 wins to get to a bowl, but I'd say there's no chance in hell that Missouri is going to go bowling if they can't beat South Carolina, because they'd have to turn around and beat Florida, which admittedly the Gators are floundering a little bit here, but then they'd have to beat Arkansas as well, which is currently a ranked team, one of the better teams in the SEC. It certainly seems like beating South Carolina has got to be one of your 2 if you're the Missouri Tigers, if you're going to make the postseason. And, why I'm kind of harping on that so much, everything that goes with the bowl game. This is obviously South Carolina, Missouri. They're not competing for the SEC East. Georgia's already got this thing locked up. And, who cares really your seeding at the end of the day? You want to finish as high as possible, of course. But for me, there's a real opportunity for both of these programs here to get to that postseason, to get the extra bowl practices. Who cares if you win the bowl game or not? It's more about, for the program, for Missouri and South Carolina, getting all these younger guys extra reps, having something to sell on the recruiting trail that you're going to the postseason. These are going to be invaluable, and I really think that the winner of this game on Saturday, South Carolina, Missouri, they set themselves up to have a lot better 2022 season. And that's important because South Carolina and Missouri, make no mistake, they're fighting, clawing each other to climb that SEC East ladder. And if you lose this ball game, I'm not saying that it'd be impossible to finish higher in 2022, but you're significantly setting yourself back. So this is almost like a springboard game to next season already. And that adds a lot of intrigue into this game. Again, aside from just making the postseason, a lot to gain for Shane Beamer and company, a lot to gain for Eli Drinkwitz. And now we get to find out if South Carolina, their big win, I'm not trying to take away anything from it, but how motivated was Florida? That's going to be the question all week till we see the action here on Saturday. I thought Missouri, I know they got blown out by Georgia, but hell, everybody's getting blown out by Georgia this season. I thought Missouri, as weird as it may be to say, to lose 43-6, and that was one of their better football games that they played in a couple weeks. So, which way are we going to go here on Saturdays? Is South Carolina going to continue to trend upward? They got the running game going here. They're going to start Jason Brown once again at quarterback. Can they carry that momentum over? Or was it more of a mirage and Florida was just in the tank? I don't know. Maybe Missouri comes out here and they could carry over their momentum. They played their best run defense maybe of the season. And again, that's bizarre to say because they allowed 166 rushing yards. But again, it was the number 1 Georgia that was pounding the ball late in the game, eating that clock up. Missouri made Georgia beat them through the air, which of course they did. But that's going to be the same recipe against the Gamecocks. You got to believe. That is something that we hit on recapping that South Carolina-Florida game. Jason Brown got the game ball after the game. He gets all the credit in the world for winning his first start there at South Carolina. But The difference was the running game. 286 yards, I think, the Gamecocks racked up on the Florida Gators, averaging 8.8 yards on first down to make things easier on Jason Brown. And if they don't have that type of success, can Jason Brown win a game on the road? Again, I know Missouri at this point of the season, fans may be checked out a little bit. It's not necessarily the most hostile environment, but hey, a lot of different ways to look at this game, and I really think it could go either way for South Carolina or Missouri. It's all going to be about which young coach can get his team up for another week of SEC action. And, that is something both Shane Beamer and Eli Drinkwitz talked about here this week leading up to this game.
Shade, I guess I'll just start it off with the quarterbacks. I think we saw Jason's going to be the number one guy on the depth chart. Is that the case that he's going to be the starter on Saturday?
Yes, Jason will start at quarterback. He obviously played well the other night and had some momentum because of it offensively, and need to keep that going. Zeb's healthier and is available. Zeb practiced today, did more today in practice than he did at any point last week, so he's good to go. Jason's the starter, and we've got a capable group of guys back there that we can put in there and play quarterback, whether it be him or Colton or Jason, Colton, Zeb, to carry on, whoever it may be. Omega Blake, who knows?
And I guess on a serious note, I know every coach's philosophy is a little different as it pertains to this, but do you talk to the guys about the possibility of winning another game and getting to a bowl game, or is that something that you just kind of just don't address until it happens?
Yeah, we addressed it this morning in the team meeting just because it'd be naive for me to think they're not talking about it, because I'm sure they're hearing it on the outside and they know. But we addressed it briefly this morning that every time you think about getting bowl eligible, stop. And just think about at that moment what you got to do to prepare to play your very best against Missouri. Because we don't want to be thinking about, it's the whole process and result thing. Let's not think about what the result on Saturday. It's the process during the week to prepare ourselves to go play great on Saturday. But I did address it, briefly this morning as well. And said, look, we're not going to talk about that. We're not talking about Florida. We're not talking about getting bowl eligible. It's being our very best to go compete against Missouri because we expect to fully get their best shot this weekend. I mean, they're sitting there 4-5, and they're fighting their rear ends off to find 2 wins at least down the stretch as well. And we're the next opponent for them, and you can see them getting better as the year goes. So they have our full attention, and we better be ready to play at a high level on Saturday against them because we fully expect them to be at the highest level they've been all season.
Shane, schematics aside, did Sat's play calling just feel different on Saturday night, and just how would you just kind of describe how he was able to, just kind of piece that game together play by play?
Yeah, I think when you're able to run the ball and you're able to stay on the field, it certainly feels different and looks better without a doubt. When you're moving the ball forward and you're not having a bunch of 2nd and 11s and 2nd and 12s and 3rd and longs, it certainly is easier. We talk all the time about staying on schedule. That 1st and 10, let's get it to 2nd and 6, not 2nd and 11. So we were able to stay on schedule, and then I thought Sat and the offensive staff just did a really nice job of really, like we do all opponents, but really breaking Florida down, understanding when we lined up in these certain formations and they lined up this way, what we were most likely going to get defensively, coverage-wise, pressure-wise, whatever it may be, and then having, plays to attack that. And Jason had great confidence in the plan, and it all just, flowed together for sure. But a lot of that is done, obviously, during the week, the preparation leading up to the opponent, where you get out there on Saturday and things were certainly, clicking from the flea flicker on the first play to, whatever else. Things just things flowed very easily for sure.
Probably as well as or pretty close as you guys have played run defense all year. After looking back, what specifically did you do maybe better than you had been doing in some previous weeks?
Yeah, I really felt like we were physical in the trenches. I thought our 2 linebackers played really downhill. We changed up our lineup a little bit. We had Blaze and Chad Bailey, and both those guys were not passive. They were downhill, fitting gaps, running through. I thought our defensive line did a nice job of shedding blocks, getting skinny at the point of attack, playing more vertical. I thought we did a better job of setting edges. I think there was only a couple of plays that got out on the perimeter, and those were off of quick screens or swing screens more than they were on, designed runs that had really been gashness. And so I thought, those things helped us. Obviously, we still gave up 166 yards rushing, which is too many. But it was a step in the right direction, and I thought really our front seven, and including Martez, did a nice job in his fits this week.
Coach, you guys have 3 games left.
Yeah.
You need 2 wins to get to the bowl game. Can you describe the motivation factor you guys have the rest of your games in November?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us it's all about this week. It's really all about this week. We really can't focus on anything else. In order to get to 6, you got to first get to 5, and we've got an opportunity this week at home versus a quality opponent that we've got to play well against, and so that's really all of our focus. There's an opportunity to win a trophy, it's the Mayor's Cup, and so you got an opportunity to claim a tangible benefit after the game, and so really that's our focus, our personal pride in our performance. An opportunity to not only represent the front of the jersey, the back of the jersey, but to claim a trophy at the end. And so that's really how we're approaching this. It's one game at a time, and we got to prepare and have a great Tuesday practice in order to put ourselves in a position to have a great Wednesday practice and continue to stack good days. And if we'll do that, then I think one thing that we have to continue to learn as a program is that just because you do all the things that you're supposed to do, it doesn't guarantee the outcome, right? But if you don't do the things that you're supposed to do, you don't have any chance with the outcome. And I think where the disappointment came from early in the year was our football team was doing the things that it needed to do to put itself in a position to win, but the outcome didn't reflect the work that we put in. That's okay. That's part of the process. You got to continue to do those things. You have to have a great Tuesday practice in order to put yourself in a position to execute on Saturdays. When you go back and look at our game Saturday, you can rewind to the Tuesday that we had where we had busted assignments. We had missed or late to this or late to that. Like, those things don't give you a chance to win on Saturdays because the little things add up. And so, for us, again, with 3 games left, we're not worried about those 3 games. We're worried about making sure that we can duplicate a process that gives us a chance to be successful. And in order to do that, we got to have a great Toughness Tuesday. We got to show up. We have to have great meetings, great walkthrough focus. We got to have a great practice with fundamentals and techniques. We got to make mistakes, fix those mistakes, correct those mistakes, take the teaching from the classroom to the walkthrough to the practice. And that's really our focus. A bowl game is a product of what your season is. Our season isn't completed yet. And in order for us to reap that benefit, we got to put in the work for today.
And that last thing that Shane Beamer had to say there, Marcus Satterfield kind of calling the best game that he's called since he's been there in Columbia. Again, will that carry over? A lot of it had to do with this ground game we thought we were getting from the Gamecocks this year. And you could argue Missouri's the most ideal opponent in the SEC to keep that trend going because they've been such a disaster defending the run. But like I said, maybe what they did last week against Georgia, maybe that gives them a little bit momentum heading into the South Carolina game. So it's not going to be as simple as that. But the team, if South Carolina can run the ball against Missouri, then they're going to win this football game. If Missouri can stop South Carolina, there's a really good chance the Tigers win the game against the Gamecocks and set themselves up for a potential bowl run if they can win one of their remaining 2 games here before the season ends.